Hi everyone, this is Anastasia from digitaljunkjournals.com. In today's video, I'll be making a collage on Canva using colors and images and ideas from the June Art Journal inspiration post, which you can find on the website. So I'm just starting with a blank project here. It's 8 by 10 inches, and I have the color palette and a focus image already pre-selected. The color palette you can find in the inspiration post on the website. I dragged the color palette onto the canvas so I can use Canva's photo color selection tool to automatically pull colors from that palette, which you can see here, and I'm selecting a background color. I like to use the color palettes a lot in my example collages, so I just keep them on the canvas and then incorporate them later. It's also nice to be able to refer back to the colors, specifically using that photo color tool. Okay, so now I'm going to go and get a photo frame. Canva has these frames. They're shapes that you can just drag images into and it'll automatically crop it to fit into that shape. So I'm going to use this photo strip and I'm just changing the border colors. So now I'm going to my focus image and I'm just going to drag it into the photo frame. Double click and then adjust the crop. So by dragging the corner like that, it enlarges the photo, and then when you click out of it, it fits it into the square. So originally I was going to have two different sections of the photo like this, but I really didn't like how that one girl looked by herself. So I decided just to use the same section of the photo twice to emphasize that part of the photo. And now I'm going in and using a filter over that vintage photo. The original photo is grayscale and I want it to be more almost a sepia. So I'm changing it using the summer filter. I will end up changing this later on. So I'm going back into the Elements tab and I'm just pulling a blank circle shape, which you can change to any color. And I'm going to pull a color from the color palette. So the color I want is not on the automated photo color option, so I'm going to use the color picker to pick that darker pink color. And then I'm just moving the layer back behind the photo frame. Now I'm going to start filling in the rest of the collage using vintage papers, which I have saved from Pixabay and the Library of Congress. So what I'm doing now is just trying to fill in some of the background by layering these papers. So what I like to do is adjust the color tones of my paper elements. Sometimes the colors are too different between the different image elements and it bothers me how they look. So if I use a filter on them, I can adjust the intensity of whatever color I want to pull out and make it more cohesive. So I've just done that for those two. So I'm going into the Elements tab, searching for dots, and what I'm looking for is something that is more of a handmade look. These ones look good, so I'm going to select them, change the color to go with the color palette that I already have going on, and then I'm going to duplicate them and put them in 3 places on the canvas. I use the rule of 3 a lot in my compositions. It's just something that I internalized when I was doing mixed media collage years and years ago, but it does help to tie the whole piece together to have repeating elements like that. I also selected these dotted lines thinking that I might use the color palette as a title block, but I ended up not liking the look of that and they get deleted before the end. That's the nice thing about digital collage is you can put stuff on the page and then decide to take it out later, and it's totally fine. So when I'm searching for image elements on Canva, I do always try to filter to just static images. I'm not personally interested in using animated images on my collages, but it is an option, especially if you don't plan on printing out any of your collages and you only want to post them online. It might be fun to have a moving element. It's totally up to you. I use a lot of postage stamp images and cancellations and things like Canva has added a lot of interesting graphics that are stamp related in the last couple months, so these are some fun ones. I have 2 cancellations here and then this set of, I think it's a photo of vintage stamps. You can see it has a shadow on the bottom, which can give an interesting texture to a collage that is normally just 2D. It's also nice to use elements from Canva because a lot of times you can change the colors. So for these stamp cancellations, I can change the color of them from black to white or to blue or whatever. And that's really good for my collages in particular because I do like using specific color palettes. So at this point, I struggle for about 5 minutes to make a shadow behind the photo there. It's not a perfect shadow. It's not as good as if you were doing it in like Photoshop or Procreate, but for just a quick thing, it's not too bad. So basically, very quickly, what you do is you just put a block of color behind the object you want to have a shadow, adjust the transparency, and then try to slightly angle it. You can see here I have it at a slight tilt. Using the Elements tab again, I'm just searching for a heart, and I want it to again have a handmade look, so I'm using these doodle hearts where I again can change the color, and I do end up changing the colors of these like, I don't know, 3 or 4 times. So right now they're white, and then later on I'll change them to different colors. I like these. I like how they're kind of scribbly without being scribbly in like that 90s handmade heart way. Do you know what I'm talking about? They don't look dated, they just look handmade and cute. So here's what the collage looks like right now. I do make sure to zoom in and out when I'm making collages so I can check the entire composition against whatever small element I'm working on. And at this point I realized that I want to start pulling in some more white tones. So I'm duplicating the circle and moving the copy down to that corner there. And I'm also going to be duplicating these dots and then changing them to a white tone as well. This adds texture and visual interest, and I think it helps make things pop on the page. So I'm using the color picker to change these hearts to that other blue color, which hasn't shown up on the page so far, so I wanted to get it in there. Now I'm looking at that corner and I realize I don't like those stamps, so I'm going to look for something else. One of the visual inspirations for June was using the zodiac sign for the majority of June, which is, well, not the majority, for the last part of June, and it's Cancer, which is the crab. I thought it'd be really fun to put a crab on here, especially since the photo is a beach photo. Luckily, I found this vintage looking crab. I think it's an illustration from probably a science book. It's got a little crown on the bottom right. That means it's a premium image and it's only available if you have a premium subscription to Canva. But you could find something very similar to it on Pixabay, or even looking for these old science books yourself and then cutting the image out. It's just a little bit faster to use the one from Canva that's already had the background removed and it's been prepped for use. And once again, I'm changing the filter on it. I like the orange color, but it totally doesn't go with my color palette, so I'm just changing it to be slightly more muted. And then the same thing with this photo now. I'm changing that one to have more of an orange-ish tint, but later on in the video it's gonna, I think, be a different color. I wasn't sure what to put in this section. At first I was thinking I would just put June, obviously the name of the month. In the Elements tab, there are pre-created graphics that say June. I tried a couple of them, I didn't really like it. I put one there just to see how I felt about it, and I kept working on the rest of the collage. So then I found this little Sun Doodle. Use the color picker to take an orange color from the crab and to bring a little bit of the orange up into the other corner, since there wasn't much else orange going on in the rest of the collage. Decided I did not want that June there, and I wanted actually to put a quote there. So this quote is from a larger quote that's on the inspiration post. It's not the entire quote, it's just a partial quote, which is totally fine. So this font is not terrible. It's homemade apple pie, I think. It's like a handwriting font. But I actually don't use a lot of handwriting fonts. I prefer using typewriter font. I just go into the font menu, search for typewriter, and then it pulls up a bunch of these fonts. And once again, you can see it's got a little crown on that right side after the font name. That means it's a premium font. And now I'm just moving the color palette thingy because I'm not going to use it as a title anymore. So it's taking up too much space. I just duplicate it and put it at the top and at the bottom. And I, again, almost always put flowers on my graphics. I can't seem to stop. I just like the way they look. This one, though, I was pretty restrained. I only picked one flower graphic. Now, yes, I did duplicate it and put it in another part of the collage, but it's only one. It's not like 3 or 4 like sometimes I do. And this one actually took me a little bit of time to get right. I couldn't get the layering right for this graphic because I knew what I wanted it to look like, but I couldn't get it to go exactly how I wanted using the like image resizer thingy right there. And then here I decided to just delete that sun graphic anyway. It was either too orange or it was too on the nose with the quote. I don't know. I replaced it with a third doodle heart, and I chose another color from the same color palette that I've been using, a pinkish tone. I'm just filling in this corner here a little bit more. I don't want to have too much going on up there, but I would like something because there's so much going on in the bottom half and not a lot going up in the top half right now. So I'm just very lightly adding in some extra texture. And here I'm adding in another strip of paper because I think it needs that slightly orange tone, like from the crab. This paper is slightly orange and the crab is orange, so it's a little bit more up there. Not a lot, and I use the filter menu to mute it a little bit so it's not super orange, especially because my color palette is a lot of blues and blue toned, cool toned things. At this point, it's just a lot of extra tweaking, slightly changing the position of things, making sure it flows, resizing a little bit of stuff, because I want things to work together. So now it's time to fix that flower in the top there. I want it to be layered over that paper graphic, and here's the trick. The trick that I figured out is to use the background remover menu to erase parts of the image that I don't want to use. It doesn't always work, and the background remover is a little finicky sometimes, but it did work here, which is great. So you can see here I've got this image. It doesn't have a background, but if I go into the background remover, it brings up a second menu where you can erase things. So I'm just going to erase that bottom part of the flower image with the stem. So I am erasing that, and then once I'm done and apply it, you can see now I can layer it on top of that tan colored paper and have it come over the edge of that, which is what I wanted. I think it ties it in together better, having it under the photo image but over the paper ephemera. Now at this point it looks pretty good and I could have it be done, but I think something is missing. I wasn't sure what. I tried a couple things and then I just decided to add in the author of the quote just to have a little bit extra text in there. I think it would balance it out. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.